Hello, class. I hope you're all doing okay today. So for this week's project, I have decided to go with juvenile delinquency relating to gang violence, substance abuse, property and violent crimes as a societal issue within the United States. I have chosen to discuss this issue due to my experience in working with at-risk youth and justice-involved youth as a former probation officer. It's a kind of a topic that I kind of fell into, and I came to really enjoy. I witnessed firsthand how juvenile delinquency and at-risk youth is a supremely complex issue that is rooted in the social economic inequalities, family dynamics, instability, mental health issues, exposure to substance abuse, involvement within the community, as well as factors like educational history. So, when it comes to the question of who does this social issue impact, um, juvenile delinquency primarily impacts the youth who become involved in criminal activities, even though they commit this activity, they are also kind of victims by their own actions. If that kind of makes sense. As previously mentioned, these young individuals come from poor backgrounds, facing economic difficulties. They come from, turbulent family settings and ineffective educational opportunities. However, the consequences affect those beyond delinquent youth. Families suffer emotional and financial stress. The residents of the community experience increased crime rates, and they feel the effects of decreased safety. And us as taxpayers, we have to pay taxes for the police, who patrol these high gang areas where juveniles may participate in crime. We have to pay for probation officers and probation justice systems to help these juveniles become contributing members of society. Um, though juvenile crimes are not often thought to be associated with less severe crimes, I witnessed firsthand how, some of these juvenile crimes can be have greater effect than the crimes that adults commit. So the actual victims of the crimes are probably those that are most impacted by juvenile delinquency and justice involved youth. Why is this issue important to the community? Juvenile delinquency is important to the community because it affects the quality of life for the people living within the community, um, involved with the youth, the stakeholders, and the victims of crime. High rates of youth crime can create neighborhoods um, where there's a culture of fear and mistrust, discouraging community unity and economic development. Neighborhoods with high levels of juvenile delinquency often see a cycle of poverty that is, hard to break. One of the major gangs that I used to work with was one of the older gangs in the Inland Empire, where there was generational involvement, where the grandfather was involved, the father was involved, and then the youth was involved, all in the same gang, and they just never left that gang because it was just a generational thing. So addressing this in the community and to break that factor is something that's really important, in order to make the community safer and to address the lives of the juveniles involved. What are the issues if this problem goes unattended? As previously mentioned, you know, this can be a generational thing. So we want to break that cycle. We want to break that cycle of ongoing crime and incarceration, and stopping these kids from becoming habitual offenders. This hinders their ability to build strong, productive lives that contribute to a positive manner for society. This cycle kind of perpetuates a social and economic disadvantage. It increases the likelihood of future generations falling into crime patterns. As well as if you look at the neighborhoods, property values can decrease. There might be decreased business investment, and a general decline in quality of life for those for those people in that neighborhood. So, the failure to address juvenile delinquency on a more appropriate level um, can also lead to a higher cost for criminal justice. So these are the issues that will occur if this social issue continues to go unattended. Um, what data exists to demonstrate this is a real issue? I mean, there's always data being collected, whether it be through the local police department, the county level, or the state level. There's even an Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, OJJDP, where they stated that in the year 2020 there was 696,000 juvenile arrests in the United States, indicating that this is a significant issue. Gang involvement is a notable contributing factor, with the National Gang Center reporting that youth gangs are responsible for the majority of juvenile involved crimes within the United States. Further, another statistic that you can get is through the National Institute on Drug Abuse, stating that adolescents who engage in substance abuse are more likely to commit crimes, they suffer mental health issues, and they can perform poorly in school. These statistics highlight the need to address this like multifaceted factor, within juvenile delinquency. And furthermore, studies have shown that early intervention and early involvement in these youth's lives can heavily support and reduce these crime rates. Helping these kids to be contributing factors or persons to society. Why should other people care about this issue? People should care about juvenile delinquency because it has a far-reaching effect and implications for the overall health and safety of society. We want a society where kids just focus on going to school and getting an education and paying taxes and contributing to society. By investing in resolving juvenile delinquency issues, and preventative measures, we make our neighborhoods safer, we lower incarceration costs, and we foster a generation of productive, well-adjusted individuals. So, ensuring that all young people have access to opportunities and support systems is essential for building a fair and equitable society. Um, when it comes to addressing racial demographics, that is another key factor to seeing what the needs of these neighborhoods, youth, and communities are. By addressing these inequalities, we can see, what communities need support and in what way. Yes, so thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you all have a good week.